Hi, Chris Noel here. For the last several years, I've led BFRO expeditions, and they've gone really well. They've been so much fun. The way they work is that we'll have a base camp where everybody stays, and in the day we'll scout for locations for the night expeditions, and then we'll go out in the evening and stay as late as we can out in the woods until everybody gets sleepy, and we go back to base camp. And that's a great model. And last time, just a few months ago, a small group of us had a very exciting encounter that lasted for 45 minutes, just at 10:30 at night. So it doesn't have to be super late. Parallel to those now, I'm beginning to do my own expeditions independently, and that's what I'm announcing today. One difference will be that we won't have a base camp at all. We will target our area, and then we will hike into it and stay there for 2 days and sleep during the day, and then try to stay awake all night long, building a small campfire and breaking up into small groups and doing things that we hope will elicit responses from and interaction with the species who is our next of kin here on Earth. Our first expedition takes place on Glastenbury Mountain in southwestern Vermont. For a little background on this area, here is a clip from a well-known television program. Back in the 1940s, there had been a series of unexplained disappearances. Since there were also reported Sasquatch sightings, some speculated that the two types of evidence were connected.
These and 5 other mysterious disappearances between 1945 and 1950 lead the area to be christened the Bennington Triangle. Who or what is responsible for the victims of the Bennington Triangle? Can people simply vanish off the face of the earth? Author Christopher Noel isn't so sure.
There is a strong possibility that these disappearances could be related to Sasquatches or one Sasquatch in the area, given that there have been many sightings of these creatures over the years in the Bennington area.
The Sasquatch, also known as Bigfoot, is a legendary ape-like creature thought to inhabit the forests of North America. Noel has been studying them for years.
A Sasquatch could easily snatch us off a trail. It could snatch more than one of us if it wanted to. It's quite possible that there was a rogue Sasquatch, probably a male, who was operating outside the normal range of Sasquatch behavior. I'm sure that these creatures, if they abducted these people, took them far away from where people ever go, into the thick parts of the woods, high up, in caves, and we just never would happen to cross them.
See, I don't think this is fair. Something weird happens, and boom, poor old Sasquatch takes the rap. Again, did he kidnap the victims?
For comic effect, Bill is downplaying the possibility that this was Sasquatch. Glastenbury Mountain, and in fact the entire southwest portion of Vermont, contiguous with Whitehall, New York, has a long history of reports of Sasquatch sightings and encounters. So I'm actually afraid to spend the night by myself on Glastenbury Mountain. I went there once about 5 years ago and immediately started hearing wood knocks. But I didn't have much time. I had to get back home, and I don't live near there. But if I have the group of 10 or 12 of you, I won't be afraid. We won't be afraid. But it's very likely to be intense up there. At the top of Glastenbury Mountain, there is an observation tower. You can see from this panoramic view that there's nothing but wilderness surrounding the summit. On the first day, we will hike up there and have lunch, look around, and decide just where to spend our first night. Before splitting up into our small groups, we will sit around a campfire together. These are well known to attract Sasquatch curiosity. One of my very fortunate achievements in this field has been to obtain thermal footage of a Sasquatch watching me and some friends at a fire. He or she was peeking through an opening in a pile of lumber. The second expedition will take place in Groton State Forest. Here I've had a number of close encounters. The most dramatic one was on a mountain where I was sleeping by myself. A woman who lived at the base of this mountain told me that for years she had been hearing wood knocks in the woods up here behind her house and had no idea what they were. She gave me permission to sleep on her mountain, and that's when this happened. Whoa. It wasn't until the next morning that I realized just how close this tree had come to me, out of the hundreds and hundreds of trees within earshot. Although I'm not eager to sleep up here again by myself, I will feel emboldened by the presence of the rest of you. Besides having that tree pushed down right next to me in Groton State Forest, another amazing thing that happened was that I was giving a talk about Sasquatch at the Unitarian Church in Montpelier, Vermont, and as I do always at these talks, I make sure not to give out the location where I research, both so that too many people don't come flooding in there, and also so that what happened after this talk can be allowed to happen, if it will. Afterwards, an old high school friend of mine that I hadn't seen in years came up to me and said she had talked to two separate people who independently told her that they had seen at different times a Sasquatch crossing the road near where they commonly drive. When I asked her what road that was, it turned out it was the very one that runs right through the area where the tree was pushed down next to me. In fact, it's the very road where I parked to climb up onto that mountain to spend the night. So I love those kinds of synchronicities. They really affirm and uplift this process. Our third expedition, and the final one in this first year of public expeditions, will take place in Vermont's Northeast Kingdom, a kind of wild and woolly section of the state where wildlife density tends to dominate that of human beings. While I was working up here for the 2010 United States Census, I came across very large bipedal tracks in the snow. I had no video camera with me that day, but I have no doubt of what I saw. I found these right around this pond, so we will focus on this area. When Sasquatch find a place that they like, they tend to stay here year after year, I think century after century. I've always wanted to spend the night here, but again, I never quite had the nerve to go it alone. It's winter now, but spring is just around the corner, and the action will start up again. I'm going to need to cap the number at 12 for each of these three expeditions, because that's the perfect amount, and any more it gets unwieldy. 12, we can have 3 groups of 4, which is really perfect. The fee is $100 per person. I would love to have you come along. With any questions or to reserve your spot, please write me at wildvermontexpeditions@gmail.com. Thank you.